Okay, we'll call roll, please.
Butler,
Here.
Jordan,
Here.
Oakridge,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Thomas,
Here.
Thrash,
Here.
Vincenzo.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, 7 members present. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the June 21st regular session. Is there anyone who has not received a copy of the minutes from that council meeting? Does anyone that received them have any questions?
That's where they come down.
Hearing none, we will entertain a motion to accept those. Mr. Thresh? Second. Thomas, second. Take a roll call vote, please.
Butler,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Oakridge,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Thrash,
Yes.
Vincenzo.
Yes.
All members are in favor.
Minutes are approved and are official. Nothing under new business or citizens hearings, the correspondence that I'm aware of. I do want to make one comment prior to starting the reports. Talked to law director, she is out of town, will not be back tomorrow, so she will not be present at this evening's meeting. Okay, first item on the agenda is the mayor's report.
Thank you, Jim. I hope everyone had a safe and happy 4th of July and that everyone was able to celebrate with family and friends. And again, things are busy as we dive into the month of July, and our recreation center is to be commended for the wonderful job they did on putting on Community Day. Friday night, I saw several council people there, several friends, and as well as several city employees who were working the tables to make Community Days a really positive affair. I'd like to thank, again, Respecs and Unified Bank for sponsoring the awesome fireworks show and for all the vendors who set up and handed out giveaways and coupons. Eric Gay, Debbie Reed, and Eric Timko are indeed to be commended. This Thursday night, the city will have a concert at the amphitheater. Please note that the concert start time has been changed to 7 o'clock rather than the 6, what was it before, 6, I think. So they backed it up to 7. It'll feature the Gage Joseph Band. The city extends its best wishes to Debbie Reed, who is in the Parks and Recreation Department as program director. She's taken a new position in New Albany, Ohio. Her last day was Community Day celebration, and since the fireworks were the very last event, she literally went out with a bang. Attended the Omega Executive Board meeting in Steubenville. I had the opportunity to learn about new funding that may be available with the signing of the Appalachian Community Grant Program, which will be funded that Governor DeWine spoke about in our community. I also had a nice opportunity to network with some people. I was just informed that we will be hosting a delegation of Japanese dignitaries to our city on July 27th. It'll be a great opportunity to show off our town. I'm very thrilled about that. I was a celebrity scooper at Kirk's Homemade Ice Cream. All the money went to the United Way. I was probably the worst scooper they had. Mayor's Court was last week. Unfortunately, we had several no-shows. So, and I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. I know tonight you're going to vote for the 3rd time on the administrative raises. And I just want to point out that we are now at 8% inflation rate. And that means employees are at a 5.5% deficit if they get this raise. And we're at the halfway point of the year. And our city is engaged in so many projects. We're so busy working on so many things. Much of the credit goes to our service director, Jeremy Greenwood, who routinely puts in 70 to 80 hours a week, and most of it's uncompensated. Every one of our administrative employees works really hard, whether it's Annette or Roberta coming in on the weekends, to Jen McMillan working weekends at the rec center events and dragging her kids into it, uncompensated. They always do everything. They go the extra mile. Donnie is at every water break. He's like the street celebrity. If something happens, Donnie's there before most everybody else. Tom always pitches in and does whatever we need him to do. And we all have a common goal. It's for the good of the city. The utility department handles so many complaints and problems, and I've never heard anyone be anything but pleasant and wonderfully compliant in talking to the customers. Anita stays very focused and diligent. She took care of watching she'll watch unusual water usage, and recently she made sure that the police checked on an older person because her water use was so high. I guess what I'm trying to say is we are really blessed with exceptional people. We're very, very fortunate to have their talents, and I don't want to lose any of them. The proposed raise will at least show them we acknowledge and appreciate their hard work. So please don't try to save pennies and end up pound foolish. Remember the value they bring, and remember the job market, which is screaming for people. So I thank you for that. And that's it.
Good, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the mayor? Beth?
Mayor, if somebody doesn't show up for mayor's court, what happens?
Depending on the situation, a warrant will be issued for them. Is that not right, Chief, that they will, yeah.
So the one that I wanted to question is the incident that we had with the dog, and that's been going on.
Too long,
Mhm.
yes.
And my understanding is, checking with Jeremy, that they did not show up for
They
mayor's
did
court.
not.
It was mayor's court, then it was Western Division, is that accurate?
We are going to determine if they're going to Western Division because they had an attorney who had been having health problems, and we had delayed and delayed because of continuing health problems. Jen bent over backwards to accommodate them to set up a video teleconference for mayor's court, and he never called. We did not have a number to reach out to them, and the couple did not show up. So trust me, this is high on my radar.
So did it originally, it started mayor's court, but I guess I was under the understanding that it had gone to
Not yet, because we haven't
It
had
never
them in
has
front of us.
No, you had it over to Western Division.
All right, yeah, that was a discussion, so it has gone. So they will now take care of it because this is,
again, I'm just wondering, I thought, I mean, because this is about a year now, right?
September 30th.
That it had been at mayor's court, then it went to Western Division, then it came back to mayor's court, and now we're sending it back.
It was in mayor's court, originally started in the mayor's court, was
And it
then,
delayed.
well, it was delayed, but then you sent it over to Western Division. Western
They
Division
threw it back.
threw it back because there wasn't a ruling in
From
mayor's
our
court.
court, yeah.
And so that's where it's been jumping.
So it has been in our court, then it went
Yes.
to Western, it's back in our court, they did
Did
not
not
show.
Did not show.
And now, what are we doing?
I've talked to the police to issue a warrant for their arrest, so. And then from there, I'll have to ask Elizabeth exactly how that proceeds, but I would like to see Western Court throw their weight at them,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for the mayor? Okay, we'll move on here to Service Director Jeremy Greenwood.
Good evening, council. With the holidays, it was kind of a light couple weeks here going through, but we've got some council legislation items before us tonight. 2022-26, the administrative raises, that's the third reading. And then also 2022-28, the ward boundaries, that'll be the third reading too. Some of the things that we still have council items in front of us, the refuge haulers need to have a discussion with the street committees to determine what direction we need to go with that. Also, still have the gas aggregation program, waiting on Elizabeth to look at the original legislation to see what items we have to do for that. Had 6 various meetings with different things, different projects. Completed projects, we started the smoke testing in Ward 1. We kind of hit on that before. We had, what was it, 6 streets, 8 streets? Somewhere in there, less than 10 streets done, and there were 12, 13 problems already. Other completed projects were Community Day. That was taken care of. As the mayor mentioned, thanks to Eric and Debbie for running that as smoothly as possible. Upcoming projects, still waiting on the I-70 project. I'm not anticipating anything else coming or the contractor getting any faster with what they've got, so it's going to be every bit October or November as projected. I do want to point out, though, that the bill for last month's traffic control went to $8,000 a month instead of $7,000, so it's an ongoing process. The new regs for the West End plant are completed. They're not installed yet, so that'll be something that'll help out with that plant. As we mentioned, the sanitary sewer smoking started. The machine was working, and then it broke, and now it's working again, we think. So we're going to try and get it again, start up this week. Still looking at that with our inflow and infiltration control plans. Working on the potential purchases of properties. We actually toured one facility and have a number from them. And then one of the other properties, we have a number from them finally now. And then another section of property that we were looking at, the purchase offer was turned down. Paving, Edinburgh is almost finished. A couple smaller problems out there with some catch basins that we're going to work on the contractor with. Still working on the the administrative policies and procedures. Electric department, some of the work. Still working on transformers, pole replacement, service work. I'm going to be starting disconnects and street lights. The storms coming through and the lightning strikes have really done a number on our LED street lights. So we're working on those. And then I do believe you said you want to try and actually work on the rec. Is that this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get them up and running. Water, wastewater, hydrants, curb boxes, valves, the West End plant. We're still at 9 water line breaks. We thought we had another one this past Friday, but it turns out it was more somebody's pole was broke instead of an actual water line. So the water truck is back in the body shop for additional repairs on the body. And then, as we mentioned, the smoke testing. Street department, patching potholes, still doing some storm tree cleanup. It's that time of year too, mowing, and then street sweepers out whenever we can. I think the last 3 days it's been almost nothing but potholes and patching. So we're trying to catch up and do what we can when the weather's good. Rec Center, the mayor mentioned the next concert is July 7th. The next one, that's sponsored by Belmont Savings Bank, and then Eric wanted me to make sure to thank Reesbex and Unified Bank for the fireworks for Community Days. The next night at the gazebo will be July 15th at 7:30 to 9. And then, as the mayor mentioned, we had a resignation still. The job opening posting is open until next Friday, July 15th. I do believe we have 6 or 7 applications in already. The police department, I called Chief, and he says there's nothing to report at all, so we'll let him go over his statistics after that. Good of the city, I've got 1 out in the wastewater with COVID, and I've got 1 in the water department with potential exposures. We're going to have the nurse in tomorrow to test and then see what we have to do from that. I do believe everyone else is back from all the illnesses and everything else that was out that was non-COVID. And it's the beginning of the month, so I want to announce the new employee of the month. This gentleman was hired about 20 years ago for the city. He was hired on February 19th, 2002, and he's married. He also helps care for his mother and his mother-in-law. He's been a vital in the census efforts for the city with the last 2 census in 2010 and 2020. He works with all the citizens on various issues, helps with commercial development in the city. He's also the head of the Architectural Review Board, which helps maintain the downtown district. He enjoys some hunting and fishing trips with his in-laws. This month's Employee of the Month is our Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Tom Murphy. And that's all.
Thank you.
Plaque? You have this plaque?
I do not have his plaque because Jen was out sick today. So there's no plaque to share. He has to wait till tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Does anyone have any questions for the service directors? JC?
Yeah, the treating of the amphitheater. You get all your bids in?
I have not had a chance to talk to Eric about that. Was swamped with Community Day, and he's on vacation this week. So when he gets back, we'll get the rest of the quotes.
Okay.
Johnny?
How many hydrants do we have out?
Out of service? Probably about 10.
About 10.
Of how many?
A lot.
Narrow it down a little bit.
80, 90.
And what are the issues with just a variety of issues? Or
Some won't shut off, some won't turn on, some leak, Some, you just pretty much name it, the guts are bad on them, everything else. When we do the new distribution system, one of the things that is in the specs is that the contractor has to turn over all the old hydrants they're taking out, the ones we're replacing.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is basically try and use the guts and parts of those to repair the ones that we haven't replaced yet, but when we go through and finish the rest of the system, those will all be replaced also. So we'll have all new hydrants with everything.
Then also, you said you'll be setting up a refuge meeting.
Well, whenever you guys would be available, just to kind of discuss it and go over the options from what we had before. I know with the holidays, it's kind of thrown a monkey wrench in this last couple, but hopefully things calm down.
If you can set a date that meets your schedule real well,
Okay.
I'll work with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care who attends. It's just a discussion, so. I know we have to keep it under, what, 4? So,
Why?
because then it becomes an official meeting.
But if it's a street committee meeting, isn't it an official meeting?
It's a public meeting, but if you have 4 people there, it could be considered an actual quorum, and you could have to have announcement to the public
Yeah.
prior to that. You could run into an issue with being able to actually vote on
I
something.
mean, it technically wouldn't be a street committee meeting, but that would be the heads of the streets, the 2 different, the north and south, so that we could discuss it and see what direction they want me to go into.
Okay, any other questions for Jeremy? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to Police Chief Barban.
Good evening, council. All I have tonight is June's numbers. We had 462 calls for service, 13 crashes, 39 arrests, 7 warrants served, 1 domestic, and 143 traffic stops. I was on vacation for the best part of this pay period, but I was told by a lieutenant that everybody's happy, healthy, no big things went down, and no problems to report.
Thank you, Matt. Anybody have any comments for the chief?
How did the
Jason?
training go?
At the schools?
Yes.
Well, yeah, everybody that attended, especially those that hadn't been there before, said there was a lot of value to it. There's a second training later on in July.
Was that specifically for schools?
Yeah, it's all geared towards active shooter training.
Done.
Any word on the purchase of the tool for the doors?
Called the gentleman today. They want to come out and do a demo, but I want to have as many departments in the county available to watch that demo in case it would spur interest. So I told him to give me about 3 days, and I can reach out to all the neighboring departments and make sure they'd be available to pick a date where we could all be there to see the thing at the same time.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to Finance Director, Linda Williams.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to thank the rec center too because of the event. I mean, they put hours and hours into that event, and then when we all went home, I have a bad back, so I couldn't help, but they were there till 2 o'clock in the morning, some of them putting stuff away. So they really, really worked hard down there, and we're going to miss Debbie. So I just want to commend them for all the work that they do and the events. The first piece of legislation that we had for the levy, the general fund levy, I just got the certification back from the county today. So it will be the second piece will be here for the next meeting, and it will have to be emergency because the deadline for submission to the Board of Elections is I think in the beginning of August.
August, yeah.
Yes, so that will be coming through. And then that's all I have.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions for the Finance Director? Okay, we'll move on to Planning and Zoning. Mr. Murphy.
Thanks, Jim. First of all, I guess it was a surprise to me. Thank you for that honor. It really is a team effort here at the city. We rely heavily on each other. We have many great employees, and these are not easy jobs. I found out over the year, and if you do them right, especially, sometimes you don't make friends, but you're doing the right thing for the city. So again, thanks again for that. The Board of Zoning Appeals, they did meet on June 14th. Due to a member not being able to attend the last minute, the board did not have a quorum. They were not able to make a decision on the 2 variances being requested. Public comment was received, and the hearing was extended to this Thursday, July 7th at 6 p.m. 2 items related to a sign variance for the first settlement, physical therapy, and an accessory structure variance at 146 North Sugar Street. The meeting may be held in the basement garage here due to ADA access. So if it's not up here, it'll be down there. There are 2 new businesses in town. The first is Coco Lanas at 110 East Main Street. This is an infant and women's clothing store. The other is Family Med Plus, a doctor's office at 187 West Main Street. Questions about grass, they continue, and believe me, I'm pushing as hard as I can to get things accomplished. What we have is trouble finding a contractor or landscaper to cut the grass. Either they are too busy, booked up, can't handle the work, or are not getting back to us what is required, which is the W-9 and an estimate. I'm working with 2 newer companies in the St. Clairsville area, but haven't had any luck. Talked to them, I've gone over the properties with them. I took one out to the property, but they're just not getting us back what we need so we can proceed forward. I guess legally might be the best way to describe it. I was talking to JC before the meeting, and one of the points is when grass starts to get that high, it's difficult to find the right type of machinery. 2 newer contractors I've been in contact with, both they inferred or told me they could handle it. But I still haven't got what we need. So they're not being forgotten. It frustrates me as much as the properties of owners adjacent to these properties. We still continue to work on that. Just a reminder too about permits to the public. I did someone today, I stopped at their property and noticed they had a kind of a new deck completed without a permit. It looks like everything will be okay, but I hate to be in a position where if things aren't okay and they're over a water line or sewer line, they have to dismantle that. So just a reminder to the public to make the phone call, find out if you need a permit, and then follow the process we have set up. And the representatives of Trinity, they have been contacting the city, so that's good news that they're starting on their process. So if there's any questions, just go ahead and ask, and I'll do my best to answer.
Just on the grass, like when someone has passed and there's no estate, like you had told us in the email, are we then still gonna get that grass cut?
We try to.
We can't
Yeah, we
bill anyone?
can't, right, there's no one we can bill other than what we can do is we can put a lien on the property, which we've done in the past. I wish we could even get to that point. My problem is finding a contractor that's willing to do it at this point in time. If anybody knows of anyone who cuts grass or knows of a company, give me their name and phone number, and I'll reach out and touch base with them and see if we can get these accomplished.
I mean, does it have to be a company if an individual is interested in doing it?
And this might be, my understanding is it has to be someone with a W-9
Okay.
and a estimate, because we have to be protected, so that for example, someone's just not going out there and doing it, we're paying them and they could be a friend of this person or that person. We need something to cover the city and protect the city from an auditor's perspective. So.
I'm no attorney, but I think we'd also have to be concerned that whoever would be cutting this grass, if we got an individual, we're looking at a liability insurance type of thing if they create any damage on people's property. So we have to make sure that they're properly insured if they're gonna do work for the city on somebody's property, like cutting grass. That's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, if anybody has any company names, someone, just let me know and I'll reach out.
Any other questions for Mr. Murphy? Okay, thanks, Tom. Okay, we'll move on to the council committee reports. Finance, Mr. Smith, you have a report this evening?
No, we have a meeting, when's our next meeting, July 18th, at 6:15. That's our next meeting. Regarding resolution 2022-26, I'd like to table it until the next meeting, if we could. I haven't had a chance to look over these numbers yet, but I'm not against raises. I'm probably going to vote yes, but I still have to look at those. But that's depending on what council wants to do. And I think it's retroactive anyway. But
Or are you making a motion to?
document that.
Are we doing that now?
We can do it now, or we can wait till the legislation. We'll just wait till we get to it, and then we'll go from there and decide whether or not council decides whether they want to table it or just go ahead and vote on it this evening. Okay, no other report. We'll move on to utilities. Tara?
Yeah, we had a meeting this evening. Went over the billing report. We discussed a lot of things. There were 2 individual customer situations. We talked about assessment fees pertaining to 2 different issues. Several other things that we don't have a whole lot of information on just yet, so we're waiting to get that back until next meeting where we have more knowledge about the things that we're talking about. Jim, can we change the time for next meeting now? Like, can we put that in the minutes so that next meeting is 6:15 for the?
We'll have to make sure that, yeah, we can do that. We'll have to make sure the public is.
That's what I mean.
Okay, sure.
If we say that this evening, the next meeting would be
In ample time.
August.
Yeah, it's a month.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Now, do you want to make this a permanent change or just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should. So let's do, what would be, August
1st.
Yes. Yes. So for the August 1st meeting, let's put that in there to change the time to 6:15 for the utility meeting.
I'm pretty sure that would also have to be voted on by council, so we'll have to make sure that there's legislation to provide that, and it will have to be emergency legislation
In the next
order to have
council
it,
meeting, right,
for
so
that
that,
meeting, so we'll
yeah.
have to get that to Elizabeth.
Okay. So that would be done on the 18th then, right?
Right,
The next regular meeting.
right.
I mean, if we can't get it done until, for the next meeting, that's fine.
Okay.
Let's just get it in the works and,
Well, it shouldn't take any time.
No.
I don't know how busy she is with legislation, but as far as getting the public notified,
It's a quick
not a
change.
problem.
Yeah.
It's just that
Okay.
it has to be voted on by council, and that would be ample time to,
okay.
'cause I know she got some legislation coming up, and I don't know what her schedule looks like, but we can work on that.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the police committee. Beth?
Yes, we had a police committee meeting after the last council meeting, June 21st. First, I want to welcome the chief back to the city. It wasn't the same without you. Although we were, well taken care of with the lieutenant, it just wasn't the same. I just want to acknowledge that. At the last police committee meeting, we talked about the radar signs and what a benefit that is to the city. We're glad that we have 2. That does seem to, the data that it collects is extremely helpful. It does seem to slow people down. People do seem to take notice, so we're grateful to have those 2. We also talked about the tool that Dawn referred to earlier that could be very helpful in any type of hostage situation, particularly an active shooter at school or in any place, actually. And then we get the status on the new guns coming in, and that was the meeting last time. And our next meeting will be July 15th, which is after the next council meeting. We talked about body cameras, did we?
think
We
so.
talked about them. They're in?
They're in the.
They're in use.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about body cameras also. They're in and they're being used, and we like them. What else did I miss? Council. committee members.
Just wanted to mention that because I think the chief had mentioned it's a huge upgrade from the previous ones.
Yeah, terrific, yeah. Saves us a lot of time, money, and hassle with making discs or thumb drives and transporting, driving out to the prosecutor's office now. Videos can be sent to the cloud with a link to the prosecutor's office and a time frame for them to open and view, and after that, they expire, they can't get into them anymore, so everything is logged, tracked, who got what, when, how long they had access to it, and when it was deleted from their access.
And I think I said the next meeting was the 15th. That's not right. It's the 18th, July 18th. Right.
Okay, anybody have any comments or questions for Beth? Okay, move on to streets north side. Mr. Vincenta.
Just follow up on what Jeremy said. Edinburgh is about complete. Looks very nice.
There was pictures playing of the construction. There is no base at all under that entire street, so we did the right thing. It needed completely rebuilt. What was left over with the trucks just driving on it to pave it destroyed it. So if we would have just done a top coating on it, it would have completely destroyed the street.
You're saying pictures are coming up on here?
They were up. Where Jim?
It's
cycles.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cycles.
cycling.
Give me a second.
Okay, thanks.
But I was able to stop by a couple of times. The base looks like they did a great job on that. It didn't look like there was no underlying issues, springs or anything, so.
Had a couple soft spots, but we cut extra out and put some stuff in, so we
Looks
should be
good,
all right.
and then when we do talk with the refuge companies that turn around,
Yeah.
definitely need something, but it looks good. That's all I have.
Okay, anything south side, JC?
No report.
Safety committee, sorry.
One question for like South Side, I guess to Jeremy. On the common small crossing,
Mm-hmm.
all those catch basins,
We're
what
getting
is the
close.
cause of that, or is that under something that?
What we think is that either the gas company or the telephone company, when they put their lines through, cut our drainage lines that were in there, but we're getting quotes now to fix and go from there. Why some of them are cracking going in, some of them cracking and heaving, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that there's not enough expansion joints in there, but with the new ones we'll cut in, we'll have expansion joints right next to them.
So then it wasn't something with the construction, it was?
I don't think, but once we get in there and dig them up, we'll be able, we'll know.
Few of them are pretty bad.
Yes, one's heaved up, about 8 inches. So we're getting estimates on fixing that.
Okay.
Okay, we move on to safety. JC, anything on safety?
No report.
Building and grounds. Linda, do you have any report of building and grounds?
No report.
Planning commission, Mr. Thomas.
No report.
Fire district, Linda, do you have a report?
The board approved the IT contract with the Educational Center in the amount of $4,500. Also approved for the chief to submit a recruitment, retention, and residency grant in the amount of $185,640. Next meeting is July 26, 9 a.m. at the firehouse.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Does anybody have any questions for Linda on fire district? Recreation, Mr. Thomas.
I think the mayor and the service director did a great job telling everybody about last Friday and what's upcoming. So I have no report. The next meeting will be Thursday, July 21st at 4:30 at the rec center.
Okay, I will throw in my comment. I don't know who all made it to the community days on Friday, but it was an awesome turnout of public, and again, there's not enough pats on the back for the people that set it up and worked at it, because that's probably the biggest turnout I've seen down there for anything in a long time other than a football game. So there was a ton of people down there.
Jim, could I say something? I neglected to thank Mr. Jeffrey Schutz, who donated a golf cart to the rec center. and they were able to use it for community days. In fact, God bless Eric Timko, he took some people who were elderly that were having some trouble walking, and their car was far away because of all the traffic. He turned the golf cart over to Greg Clark, who took the people back to their car at the high school because they really are not street legal. I said, Greg, you take him up, so if anybody has a complaint, they'll see a policeman driving it. But it came in so handy. It helped us. It took materials down, and I just really want that shout out to Mr. Schutz. Thank you very much.
For sure. Okay, we'll move on to the Park District. Linda?
No report other than the next meeting is July 11th, 4:30 at the park.
Anybody have any questions for Linda on the park? Okay, that brings us to ordinances and resolutions. Again, the law director isn't here this evening. The first piece of legislation is 2022-26, which is the cost of living raises. I personally just want to bring this up and say it. I think I know Mike's brought up a question of tabling the issue until the next meeting. Personally, the salaries that are in effect for these people, their normal salaries for the previous year, they're what they have been. This is not an increase in any kind of major job responsibility. This is merely a 2.5% cost of living raise, which really doesn't amount to that much, especially when the cost of living is pushing 8%. So it's not gigantic. To me, I don't, again, it'll be up to council to decide whether or not they want to vote on it or see if they want to table it. But it's basically just the cost of living raise to keep them from going farther in the hole than they're going to go. So other than that, Mike, do you want to make a motion to table it?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this till the next meeting, and just so I can give these figures, but, and get on a podium before it.
Okay, do we have a second to table?
I have a question though. Can I ask now?
Sure.
Like, if we table this till next meeting, when do the increases start? Should it be approved tonight, immediately, correct?
Well, the raises, as my understanding is, it's got emergency legislation or emergency language. So as soon as they go into effect, it goes into effect, and there is a retroactive clause in there. So it's just automatically back to July 1st. So if we pass it tonight or next week or whenever, the raises still go back to July 1st. Okay, so we have a motion to table and a second by Mr. Thomas. We'll take a roll call vote to see if the council wants to table it or vote on it.
Butler.
No.
Jordan.
Yes.
Obridge.
No.
Smith.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thrash.
No.
Vincenzo.
No.
3 in favor, 4 against.
Okay, it's been voted against the tabling, so we will go at this point and we will read Resolution 2022-26.
You voted, these three voted to table, 4 voted to not table.
To not
So now
table
we're
it.
going.
So we're going to actually read the resolution and
Yeah.
vote on passing the resolution itself.
Resolution number 2022-26, a resolution authorizing the city council to increase the yearly compensation of some of its employees and declaring an emergency.
Okay, that is the third reading. Would anyone like to make a motion to pass this?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Okay, we'll now take a roll call vote on passing the resolution itself.
Butler.
You want to read it first?
What?
Oh, you already
We're
read it.
good, we're
Emergency.
good.
That's right, we're not emergency. I'm used to everything being emergency. Okay, take a vote.
Butler.
Yes.
Jordan.
No.
Obridge.
Yes.
Smith.
Abstain.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thrash.
Yes.
Vincenzo.
Yes.
5 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention.
Okay, 2022-26 is passed. This is my turn, my week to mess up things. Last week, the meeting was yours. We just kind of take turns. Okay, resolution 2022-26 has been passed. We'll now move on to ordinance 2022-28, which is the, keeping the ward boundaries the same as they are, not changing according to what the,
Ordinance number 2022-28, an ordinance amending Title I Administrative Code, Chapter 105, Wards and Boundaries, Section 105.01, Divisions into Wards of the Codified Ordinances of the City of St. Clairsville.
okay, we need a motion to vote on this, whether they want to keep the boundaries the same. Mr. Thresh?
I have a question. How's this different from what we have now in the charter?
The charter basically said it has to do with the population.
It's not the charter, it's the,
Right, it's not in the charter, it's just in the administrative code.
Right, that's what I meant, I'm sorry.
The city. Previously, it was based on not only geography, but also population. And you might recall my previous meetings, we discussed that the population, according to the previous code, should be relatively consistent. Council discussed that and said, no, just to move forward and make it geographic, period. So north and south, and the northeast, southeast, northwest, and southwest quadrant or ward. So the population formula was taken out totally.
Did we have to do something about it because the word shall was in there?
Right, it was modified so that it would reflect what council wanted
Yeah,
to see.
so we just have to have it worded right.
Okay.
It's really not changing. It's not changing the numbers, but we had to put it in there that we're fine with the numbers how they are, even though it's worded the way that it is.
Right, based on the previous way it was worded, two of the wards would be changed.
Yes.
In their geography. And council discussed that and decided, no, we just want to keep it consistent with what we have now, but take out the population formula.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Okay, well, I'll take that roll call vote.
Butler,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Oakbridge,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Thrash,
Yes.
Vincenzo.
Yes.
All members are in favor.
Okay, ordinance 2022-28 is passed unanimously. The section boundaries will stay, the ward boundaries will stay the same as they are now. Okay, that's the last thing on the agenda this evening. The next meeting will be Monday, July 18th at 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. Mark, do you have anything?
Real quick, I sent that email to everybody, House Bill 377, started thinking about it. I've been told by my friends in the governor's office that there's around 80 billion that's immediately available, 30 million of which can go to planning a project, to pay for planning. So they're anticipating releasing regs, policies, applications, guidelines within the next month and a half. I tell you to your face, I'm gonna beat the proverbial dead horse here. This is a great opportunity for St. Clairsville, and we need to start thinking about what can we submit for a project.
I had that discussion with Jeremy today. In fact, I called the lady that's my buddy in the governor's office, and she gave me the same. She said within the next 2 weeks, she said, I will make sure you get it, but she told me the same thing.
So do we have ideas?
I think to submit for the finishing of the rec center, the landscaping and the rest of the, like, bocce ball and maybe like a
Junior
little
fair building.
Junior fair building,
train station.
and finishing.
Central Park.
You keep jumping in when I say a word. It's like these, I feel like I'm married.
So we have ideas.
Yes, we do have
You-
ideas, yes. Yes, we do.
I think Mark's
Infrastructure.
right, we want to strike where the iron is.
When the iron hits
There's
the-
going to be 500 million amongst the 32 counties in Appalachia is not going to go far. We have some great projects, the aforementioned ones. I raised in my email to all of you the bike trail. There's numerous options there. Just FYI, we need to jump on one, whatever it is, we need to do it.
I still want to see the bike trail extended out past the reservoir and finish that off as a recreational.
And when the mayor brings that up, I think if you read what the governor said initially, and then at the press conference last week when it was signed, collaborative projects will be good. That is a collaborative project with Richland Township. I may have said that in my email. But if we partner with Richland Township, Reservoir Road is, that part of Reservoir Road is their road, is it not, Jeremy? So Richland Township, City of St. Clairsville will get together, apply for some funding to extend the bike trail from its southern boundary out to the reservoir. I think that's a great project.
ADA dock ramp.
That's fine too. I'm just saying that I think collaborative efforts between governments will help. So if that's something we want to do, there's no reason we can't do the bike trail and the junior fair building, et cetera. We can do both. So Mayor, thanks for staying on top of it. When those applications and guidelines come in, we need to be ready.
Joe.
Thank you, everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, need a motion to adjourn. And second?
Second.